Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here, and today we are going to be building a subway train to go in our subway system. Awesome. So in deciding what to use as the basis for my subway train, I've basically been looking at every single train set LEGO has ever done. And short of all the steam locomotives and things like that, which are clearly inappropriate, there's generally fast passenger trains like set 60051, which have got the very pointed nose and are very streamlined and so on, and they just aren't appropriate at all for an underground system. The other major category is the cargo trains like 60098, the heavy haul train, and again these are just huge engines designed to pull lots of carriages, so aren't appropriate either. So what we really need is something where the engine car is kind of a passenger car at the same time. I think we also don't need to focus too much on colour, because often underground trains are quite drab and sort of grey or silver coloured sort of thing. Quite bare basics, because most of the time they're not seen after all. And thirdly, they're quite short by comparison, lots smaller. I mean, in real life there'd be a narrower gauge as well, but I'm going to stick with a normal Lego rail system, because otherwise it's going to be a bit difficult if we go 4 wide rather than 6 wide for the body of the train. So there are only a few things that Lego have actually done as official sets that are worth considering in my mind. The first one is the Metroliner, set 4558, which, although based on a real sort of Amtrak train above surface, it's got that sort of grey colour scheme, and it's got quite a snub nose as well, and it's got that very, very famous red, white and blue stripe along the entire side, which is just fantastic. I mean, it's a real favourite, as you'll probably know, for Lego enthusiasts around the world. And the other set is the only real subway train that Lego have ever done, to my knowledge, and that's set 4855, which is a Spider-Man set, Spider-Man's Train Rescue. That's a set from 2004, which had 299 pieces, including 4 minifigures and sort of spider webs and tunnels to crash into and so on. But it was based on a sort of grey New York style subway car, and it was completely flat-faced or flat-fronted, and 16 studs long, 6 studs wide, and basically looks like the perfect thing to me for what we need. So that's what I'm going to use as the basis for my subway train. Now, I don't want to just have one carriage like we have there. I need to have at least 3, I think, to make a good job of it, because 1's too short, 2 looks a bit too short, a bit like you've only bothered to do the bare minimum more than 1. So 3 is a good length, I think, and also that'll fill pretty much a platform of about the length you can see here on camera. So that'll be very good. Also, it means that if I have one that's full of power functions motor stuff, then there can still be another 2 for passengers, because it's very important to me, obviously, that this isn't a push train, because I won't be able to reach it to push it all the way around my subway system, because it will be going completely underneath tables and be virtually inaccessible. So it needs to be powered. So 3, I think, is the optimal number. So that set 4855 from 2004 isn't a massively rare set, but it is a set that's quite desirable, because it's got a lot of official sort of train windows, which are quite hard to come by in that light bluish grey colour, and it's got quite a few other good parts that are well worth having, as well as having 4 minifigures, many of which are very desirable. So it's taken me quite a long time to accumulate 3 of these sets. One I managed to get with just the train, which is the only bit I really needed, and the other 2 I had to buy the whole set, and I've sold on the minifigures, which fortunately for me have most of the value in, so it's actually been not as costly as I once feared. And the reason for doing this rather than going the Bricklink way is because a lot of those parts are so rare, like the train windows in grey, so desirable and so usable by brick railroaders and so on, that the only way of really getting them is by buying the whole set. Also, that set's got some really good stickered pieces that I hope to use as well. So without further ado, I'm going to move on to the first of my carriages based on set 4855. And I've improved on it because I think the original was too drab. That was the main criticism of it. But there's also a lot of improvements I think we can make. But the main one is that it's too drab. It was just too grey, all light grey and with a dark grey stripe. Not very interesting at all. So I thought, well, hold on. The other contender for this position was the Metroliner. And the best bit about that was its red, white and blue sort of toothpaste stripe along the middle. So what I've done, first of all, is put the toothpaste stripe of red, white and blue onto the Spider-Man train rescue train. Now this is instead of the dark bluish grey stripe, and I haven't got it going through the doors because obviously we've got these full height windows, but it also accentuates in my mind the fact that these are doors, which isn't as obvious in the original. There's not much else I've changed. The front's pretty much the same, though in order to get rid of that dark bluish grey stripe, I've continued round in light bluish grey on this level with the lights on. And rather than have headlight bricks that are a bit recessed and a bit less attractive, what I've used for these pieces is those Technic bricks, 1x2 bricks with two axle holes on, and then you can just push the headlight pieces into those so they are showing front and back. Also, I've added a bit of a 3D sort of rail type piece to the doors just to give them the illusion that there's some sort of handle that you could get in them. I mean, it's a bit underscaled, to be honest, and obviously they don't open, but I'm happy with that because I can't have them flying out when they're going through a tunnel when they're in operation, because it will just be a catastrophic failure. So the pieces that were there were these stickered ones here with the train system logo on. So I've used those on the front and back so they won't go to waste. I've kept the nice 4855-194 sticker in yellow because I think it's a really good contrast, and obviously these trains and carriages are all usually numbered, and that's a feature I'd like to keep. The top's all the same, and the top is removable, all in one piece, and it's got some seating. I was thinking about having just standing room, but for the moment I've got some seats in there in yellow just to match that accent colour as well. So I'll put that back on. Now the other major change I've made is on the wheels. The original set comes with the tiny little tram wheels, and that's no good because for a start it won't be high enough because I want to have a platform that's sort of about this high. So if it was on the tiny tram wheels, it'd be right down here. So that's better to have normal train wheels rather. And it also allows me to put the proper buffer on with the magnet connector. The original has sort of a little buffer like that because it's only one car long on both ends. So I've kept it on one end because this will be one end with a second one in the middle with two buffers, and then the third one will be the motor one. So I've got a sort of dead end piece, so to speak, there, and a connector here. And then I've added two 1x8 bricks in black on the bottom. One of them hasn't got a sticker on, doesn't need to, because you're always going to be seeing the same side of the train as it's coming through the station, because basically it's going to be doing a loop that we won't see, and then by the time it comes through the station again we see it, it's done a complete loop, so we're seeing the same side again. So on that side that we will be seeing, I've got a sticker with electrics, water, pneumatics, oil on, which you probably won't see at all, but hey ho, I had it, so why not use it? Otherwise, this carriage is unchanged, but I think that addition of the colour really adds quite a lot, and it means that all of the signage in my subway station can use these three accent colours in that order and instantly be recognisable as subway, as can the subway entrances, which will be on the street level of my city. So you'll never get confused between a tram station that'll always be in orange that's going on the monorail, the train station with the surface train, or the underground subway train. So moving on to the second car. This one's exactly the same as the first one, except it's got the connector so it can hold on to the front car, which is the engine car. And this one's a lot heavier because it's full of power functions. Now, it was very important to me, if you remember our initial brief, that this looked the same as all of the other carriages, because that's generally how subway trains are in my experience. So apart from a few subtle differences, we've still got the same sort of sticker, door sticker along this side, the toothpaste stripe, and all around same appearance. But obviously we've got the power functions engine sticking at the bottom, which does look a bit odd at first, but remember, it'll be largely concealed by the platform, so we really won't see it at all. We've also got the destination on. Now, this is a sticker that comes with the original 4855 set, but usually it's attached to just one of these normal 4x6 roof pieces. Now, I've used my patented hot tea technique to remove that and attach it to a 1x4 red tile, just because I think that having it 3D makes it a bit more prominent and noticeable. So that's really good. And then the only other difference is on the roof. Whereas normally we'd have 3 vents. We have one in the normal position, and then the second is the IR receiver, and the third is slightly different because it's got a hole in it. Now that's so we can have a concealed switch. So when we turn it on, we can see the on green light. This is a system that's used in quite a few of the trains, including 60051 and 60098 that we looked at earlier. Now I also appreciate that we could have used a Bluetooth system to do this rather than using infrared, because obviously when it's deep in the tunnels, the infrared probably won't be able to reach it. So it'll only be when it's running through the station sections of the track that the infrared will work at all, because obviously it needs line of sight. But at least for now, I'm using this because this is the system I've got. I don't have any of the brand new powered up Bluetooth engines or motors and all the rest of it. So that's what we're going to do. Now we will open this, but suffice to say that it is absolutely jam-packed with stuff, because this is only a 6x16 train, and obviously it's got a one thick wall all the way around the outside, so the workable space on the inside is only 4x14, and in there we've got the top bits of the power functions motor, we've got the entire power functions battery box, we've got the entire power functions infrared receiver, and we've even got a set of power functions lights as well. So there's absolutely no room for a driver in here, but I don't think that's a problem, because with the windows being quite dark, being the transparent black or transparent brown, depending on your preferred name for it, you can't really see in anyway, so I don't think it really detracts from it too much. So I think the net result is that this looks incredibly similar to the other 2 cars in the train, and when you think the platform's going to be hiding most of the difference on the motor, then the only thing you'll really notice is these subtle differences on the roof. And if we turn it on, I can just control it on this little piece of track. Forward, back. And then I've got lights on this one as well, because you can't have the lights always on when the engine's on, just because there literally isn't enough room for that. So if I turn these lights fully on, you'll see that they're on there, and they'll be able to light the way through our tunnels, and we're able to see that as it's running through our station. Right, so I won't take this completely apart, but the engine is actually sticking up through the floor. So rather than the normal 16x6 plate, this has actually got a 6x8 plate on the back and just some 1x6s on the outside and a 2x6 at the front. So the top of the motor actually sticks through the floor perfectly, but it's still got a lot of strength due to being connected at the front and back firmly, so it's all right. Then the majority of the rest of the box is containing this battery box, and you can see very neat wiring to link up with the business end of the infrared receiver, and then the lights go from here underneath this block to come out here. And there we can see them coming on. So then we just conceal all that. With some bricks and slopes. And then we have this device just to be a sort of hinged system that you can see through on the back there. So we can turn a thing on and off. Excellent. Well, I hope you'll agree that's a really good train to have going around our subway system in Brick Nottingham. And it's really important we get the train done first, because otherwise we won't know how high to make the platforms or how tall to make the arches in the system for the train to run on. And I think you'll agree that this bad boy looks pretty good. I think the addition of the Metroliner stripe is a real fantastic idea. And it really makes it quite catchy and have a good theme for the rest of the city. Awesome. Well, I think that's turned out really well. I'm really happy with it. I think it's going to look absolutely excellent beezing through the tunnels underneath Brick Nottingham. So as always, thank you very much for watching. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe for more awesome LEGO videos. And next time on Robin Hood Bricks, we're just going to have to make a start on the subway station. And let's see how we can stop now until it's fully finished. So see you then!